Today on Cronkite Sports Now, from the wrestling mats and the dodgeball courts to volleyball on the beach and action on the ice, we've got you covered on this freeform Friday edition. Hello and welcome to this edition of Cronkite Sports Now. I'm Mackenzie Pavicic.
And I'm Anthony Totri. Thanks for joining us.
When you walk into a wrestling room, you don't really see that many women, but there are a pair of athletes in Tempe who are looking to change that. Each day, Marley Smith spends her morning making breakfast, getting a workout in, and like most college students, working toward her degree at ASU. But unlike most college students, Smith spends her afternoons on the mat in a room where sometimes she's one of a kind.
It was, this girl from New Jersey wanted to be part of the wrestling team, and not surprised because it's becoming a little bit more popular around the country.
For Marley, coming to ASU was the only way for her to wrestle while also majoring in family and human development.
A lot of the schools that I was checking out didn't have that major, and the women wrestling schools were just in the middle of nowhere. They were small. I just loved it here.
Women's wrestling isn't recognized by the NCAA, forcing female wrestlers to either attend a school which supports unsanctioned women's wrestling or try to crack a men's lineup. In 2007, Kelsey Campbell became the first to do so at ASU, and a little over a decade later, she was joined by Marley Smith.
It's never easy to be the first to do something. You were the first to wrestle for ASU, and that's great and all, but there were days where it wasn't so great.
Although Smith is in her second year of training at ASU, this season marks the first that she's actually on the roster.
Last year, I was just part of the RTC, which is the Regional Training Center. They were separate practices from the actual team practices, so I wasn't able to lift with the team, do conditioning, or practice with them.
A regional training center is an entity that offers an elite training experience which is overseen and sanctioned by USA Wrestling. RTCs are often located near Division I programs or in some cases share facilities, equipment, and even coaches with those Division I programs. But the sport has seen a recent shift with the explosion of RTCs across the country, giving all athletes, especially women, access to coaches and facilities they otherwise could lose out on.
We have had many women join the RTCs. They wrestle for the United States of America. They're on the national team, or they have the capability of making the national team. And they're going to school there. Some aren't going to school. They're just participating just like other people are.
During her year as an RTC athlete, Smith was able to gain strength, grow as a wrestler, and prove herself to the team she's now a part of.
She goes to the team lifts, team runs. She has to do study hall, just all those things that, every member of our team has to do, she has to do as well. So I'm sure it was a big difference from the RTC because we were limited, especially during the school year and the times we could practice and the partners that she would have, and now she's got access to everything.
This year it feels like I'm more connected, more involved, and I'm part of something really great.
RTCs also give athletes out of college a place to train for the Olympics. So Marley even gets to share the mat with Kelsey, and together they continue to blaze the trail for women in the sport.
She's not just like, oh, she wrestles and she wants to join the team. Like, it was more like she's really trying to do something big.
But not all that glitters is gold. For some women, an RTC may not always be the best fit.
It depends on what your goals are. It depends on what you want your season to look like. If you want 5 to 7 matches every week, then this is probably not the place for you. But if you want that extremely elite experience, being part of a Division I program, we do have some of the best coaches in the world here.
I get good coaching here. I don't feel like I'd get it anywhere else.
While Marley may never get to officially compete for the maroon and gold, for now, she's making strides toward her own dream to
make the Olympics and eventually start a women's team here at ASU.
And what does it take to become the first Division I women's program?
People want it to be shiny and sparkly, and it's not going to be that. There's going to be a lot of misfires, and there's going to be a lot of troubleshooting, and I think once we can just accept that and embrace that, I think we'll have a program.
Mackenzie, so what's next for women's wrestling? What's the next step?
Well, the NAIA granted women's wrestling invitational status in April of 2018, and in June of this year, an NCAA subcommittee recommended that the sport be considered for emerging sport status. And now in high school, sports can be a big deal, but at Pinnacle High School, the environment at games are unmatched for onlookers and athletes alike.
Nicole Eldridge went to Pinnacle to find out how the student section got the name Crazies.
Pinnacle High School in Phoenix has one of the largest student sections in the state of Arizona, with hundreds of students in attendance at games.
We're called the Crazies because every game we're insanely crazy. Like if you saw us during football season, absolutely crazy. Like our student section is the best in Arizona. Basketball too, like just wait for this season because we're gonna blow your guys' minds away.
I think they're the best just because Pinnacle is the best. 2 years in a row, state champs. There's good players on the court, but the student section definitely helps, and I feel like just the school spirit for basketball, football, all the sports. I think it's just really good, and everyone just comes together as a school and just likes cheering on our players.
What makes them stand out against any other student section? Well, it's that they consider themselves a family.
We just like have the hype. Like we're crazy for a reason. Like Pinnacle is the best because, like I said, we're a family, so we all like cheer for our boys. When one of them are hurt, like we go insane. Like we want to make sure we play the best games as we do.
The Crazies mix up their styles for each game. The first game of the season against rival school Horizon was scheduled as a whiteout.
It's kind of random. So we'll do like blackouts. We want to do a safari out so everyone has like a little leopard print. So it's always a surprise every week. So you really got to stay in tune and come to all the games.
Where can you find the game information? Well, the Crazies boast over 2,000 followers on Twitter, where they keep students updated on upcoming events.
Just like posters around school, social media is a big one. We have a pretty big Twitter, a lot of followers, so we post it on there. It gets a lot of retweets, likes. We just share the news. Won today, win all season.
Here at Pinnacle High School, no matter win or lose, the Crazies can be seen going wild in the student section.
The students do believe that it benefits the team to see a great turnout to a game.
Oh, 100%. The boys love it. Like the girls' sports, like any team at Pinnacle loves it, so we love all the support.
Ranking #1 in the state last year, the team hopes to keep that same charisma this season. In Phoenix, Nicole Eldridge, Cronkite Sports.
And if you want to catch the Crazies in their element, just head to a home game at Pinnacle High.
With a father who played pro basketball in Spain, a brother who plays baseball for the Tampa Bay Rays, and an uncle who played football for the New York Jets, athletics run in Kirsten Varga's family.
Kiana Wolank went to GCU to see how Varga follows in her family's footsteps.
For volleyball player Kirsten Varga, staying active in sports was a passion, but maintaining success in academics always came first.
One day sports are going to end, so being able to focus on academics right now is going to be really important for your career in the future.
With family members playing in the NFL, minor league baseball, and basketball overseas, being constantly surrounded by athletic success could be intimidating. But Kirsten only used it as fuel to continue a family legacy.
I never felt pressure. I think it was something that I really enjoyed, and I look up to my dad and my brother, and my mom even was a runner, so it's something that I've just always had a passion for.
She actually was my very first recruit that I got when I came to GCU. Her and her family came on an unofficial visit, and we were walking around school, and I think I was learning things at the same time she was, because it was like one of my first weeks on campus.
With only 6 scholarships available for her sport, Kirsten's 4.6 GPA set her apart from the rest during her recruitment process.
We put a very big stress on being a student athlete, and she's embraced that and worked really hard in the classroom, and that's something that we look for in our athletes, because we're trying to help them get to the next phase of their life.
Despite having to overcome a recurring shoulder injury, her success as a student in the classroom has pushed her to find that same success as an athlete on the court once again.
From a mental standpoint, she's someone that we have a lot of faith in. Overcoming adversity has certainly been a test for her, and we're looking forward to seeing what she can do this year.
For Kirsten, the best is yet to come. In Phoenix, Kiana Wolank, Cronkite News.
The Lopes finished their 2019 season 20-11 and are looking forward to continue their growth as a team with Kirsten as an active player this upcoming spring.
And now, keeping it at GCU, the GCU women's hockey club team is brand new, but that's not stopping them from keeping it cool on the ice.
Grand Canyon University's club women's hockey team is still in its early stages, and head coach Natalie Rossi has been there since the beginning.
I've been the coach of the GCU women's ice hockey team for the past 3 years. I was hired on about 6 months before we started the program.
All three underclassmen girls, Caitlin, Allison, and Kaden, share the same principles Coach Rossi tried to instill upon the girls, a lesson of inclusivity.
We just want to make the community proud and obviously grow the game for younger girls and let people know that hockey is not just for boys, it's for boys and girls, like anybody can play.
Kaden Toombs was one of the first players to be recruited out of high school to the GCU hockey team after Coach Rossi came to see her play.
Senior year, I figured out, like, hey, I want to play college hockey, and I started looking into all of these colleges. I found GCU and reached out to the coach. The coach came to watch me play, and then we just went from there.
GCU women's hockey also discovers new players through youth training camps every year. Those training camps have found support in a bigger partner.
The really nice thing is the Arizona Coyotes support us in getting all of our girls USA Hockey Level 1 or Level 2 certified to be coaches. And that's incredible because with that, they're able to become coaches in the future and really continue that positive impact.
Like, we're trying to grow the game. We're trying to give the little girls the opportunity and the chance to look up and see what they can do when they grow up. And girls hockey doesn't stop at youth hockey. You can go on.
As the GCU women's hockey team continues to expand, Coach Rossi wants to make an impact bigger than hockey.
That we're here to make an impact on the community. I think that's our biggest thing. And, you know, we're a growing team and we'll be a national contender in the next few years.
The team currently has a 3-5 record and looks to improve upon that before playoffs in February. In Phoenix, Lauren Koval, Cronkite News.
Week in and week out, the Arizona Cardinals are focused on preparing for their opponents.
But a couple days before Thanksgiving, the team turned their attention to a more important group, kids at Phoenix Children's Hospital. The Arizona Cardinals hosted a November birthday party in the Child Life Zone at Phoenix Children's Hospital. The Child Life Zone is all about a unique kind of healing that gets the kids out of their hospital rooms and into some fun. The kids get the opportunity to play air hockey, watch movies, and do arts and crafts. But this month's big surprise was that they got to do all of those things with Cardinals players. Despite the challenges that some of these kids face on a daily basis, there were smiles across the room. And for Cards running back DJ Foster, this experience was about reminding the kids that they are just that, kids.
It's so important, you know, like we were talking about, you got to remember that they're kids and you got to remind them that they're kids. You know, a lot of the stuff they're going through, they're dealing with adult issues and stuff that, you know, are unfair to them and that, you know, they get stuck with that circumstance. So you just got to remind them that, you know, opportunities like this to come down here and play games, do little things like this, to be a kid again and to be an 8, 12-year-old and just have fun.
The rough circumstances didn't by any means stop the kids and Cards from having fun.
So an interest in dodgeball grows in the Valley, and 4 of the best players in the country call Phoenix home. And Yodi Wood-Gabriel has more on the expansion of the organized ducking, dipping, and dodging.
Dylan Clark Odin started playing dodgeball at a local jump street 5 years ago. He had no idea it would end up taking him around the world and turn him into a professional athlete.
Yeah, I started probably like 2014, and then I made the U.S. team in 2016. So going to that just like changed my whole perspective on where the sport could go and where it's going.
According to U.S. Dodgeball, Dylan is one of an estimated 30,000 to 50,000 adults playing organized dodgeball, and 3,000 to 5,000 are participating regularly at a higher level.
Dodgeball is growing locally in Phoenix because of leagues like Cactus Dodgeball, which was created for the public to sign up and play competitively. Here at Papago Elementary School, Cactus Dodgeball holds games every Tuesday.
I think people just need to watch us play. So I think that visual impact, especially in person, I think it translates the best that way.
Speed, agility, and especially strategy play huge roles in the core benefits of dodgeball. Dylan impressed scouts in different competitive tournaments, landing him an invitation to a combine where he was narrowed down to one of the best players in the country, earning himself a spot on Team USA.
9, 8,
Andrew Ketchum started playing dodgeball at trampoline parks and was recruited to start playing competitively.
Team USA is the ultimate honor for me. It's what I work for all year long. I put in all the dodgeball time, essentially, that I do. It's all working toward the goal, which is the U.S. team.
U.S. Dodgeball hopes to one day bring the sport to the Olympic Games. In Phoenix, Yodit Gabriel, Cronkite News.
These leagues encourage everyone to come out and continue to try this emerging sport.
And if you know the 5 Ds of dodgeball well enough, you could end up traveling the world just like Dylan.
Jamie Varner once lived his life fighting in the octagon. But after retiring from the sport, he now puts his efforts into coaching young wrestlers.
Cronkite News reporter Serena Perez was out at Chaparral and shows us exactly what he's expecting his team to accomplish this season.
Wrestling. It's both challenging and rewarding, and former UFC fighter Jamie Varner, and now Chaparral High School's new wrestling coach, is pushing his wrestlers to new levels both on and off the mat.
I'm not looking for glory. I'm not looking for the respect. I feel I'm going to earn it, and I want these kids, I want to teach them to earn it as well.
There have been some wrestlers who dropped from the program due to the intensity of the workouts. But for Max Johnson, Coach Varner is pushing him to be better and focus on what's important.
Goal is to cut weight more, honestly, get better weight, better grades, and what I do in here should also affect me what I do out there.
Coach Varner has high expectations for his wrestlers, but it has nothing to do with the wins they are producing, but who they are outside of this room.
I want my wrestlers to be good people. I really want them to be good people. I want them to not be full of fear and insecurities. I want them to be full of love, and passion, and positivity.
He wants us to be talking to kids that aren't as social, kids that are having hard times.
You can help people. You don't know what kind of impact you can make by just sticking your hand out or go sitting with somebody that's, in complete isolation. Most of the mistakes that people make come from isolation. And so I encourage my kids to go sit with those kids at lunch that are sitting by themselves.
It's Varner's former wrestling coach who's inspiring him to pay it forward.
He taught me that it's not how you act on the mat doesn't need to define your character.
Varner hopes to continue to pass those lessons along to the Firebirds to help them far beyond this season. In Scottsdale, I'm Serena Perez, Cronkite Sports.
Varner said his biggest motivation for coaching is to pay it forward.
And he hopes that his wrestlers can learn from some of the mistakes that he made in his own career.
That's a wrap on this Thursday edition of Cronkite Sports Now. For Arizona sports stories from around the valley, visit the Cronkite Sports tab on arizonasports.com.
And for top Arizona news stories, head over to our website at cronkitenews.azpbs.org. And be sure to tune in tonight, which is Friday, at 5 p.m. on Arizona PBS for our nightly newscast.
We hope you enjoyed today's stories and are ready for more when we return.
On behalf of the entire Cronkite Sports Now crew, thank you for joining us all semester long. We'll be back in a few weeks, and we'll see you then.